Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
You know what? We're still here.
Yeah.
Woo.
Oh, shucks. How's everybody doing today?
Yeah.
Awesome!
Excellent. Awesome is a term that I like to hear. Yes, it's a term I like to hear.
Forgot my hat.
My last name's Fladen. My name's Elliot Fladen. I am here. I'm here in a personal capacity and also in a capacity as one of the organizers of the Free Market Free People Rally in Denver.
And also neocon.
Hey, be respectful.
Elliot has the floor.
Nobody. We are respectful of everybody. It does not matter. Let him speak. We'll let everybody speak.
I wanted to clarify because there were some misconceptions in the news and in some sort of news release. I want to clarify a few things about our rally. First of all, our rally is not a counter rally of Occupy Denver.
Right. We saw that.
If we did want to have a counter rally of Occupy Denver, we would be doing is marching in the same place as you guys. Sean Mitchell and I, State Senator, we actually had a lot of discussion about this. We decided the most productive thing to do would be to have our own rally at the place where the Tea Party, this isn't a Tea Party event, but where the Tea Party, since there will be many Tea Party attendees, where the Tea Party has traditionally held rallies, which is at the west steps of the state capitol. This event is open to the public, and as long as the public does not interfere with the message of the event. So I guess that's the sort of background involved. If you guys have questions, I'm happy to take them. Once again, I'm here in a personal capacity, and also as a capacity as one of the organizers of the Free Market Free People Rally on Saturday, December 3rd, 11:30 a.m.
Excellent.
So does anyone have any questions?
I did. Just out of curiosity. Okay, so with the rally that you guys are going to be doing, is this going to be a permitted?
We do have a permit.
Okay.
It has already been obtained, and I have a copy that I actually got in my inbox this morning.
All right, and I'm saying this just so we know is exactly what the parameters of it is. My intention, and hopefully the intention that I can try to share with other people, is not to be challenging at all. There's, I think, a lot of common ground, at least in terms of defining what the problems are, if not the solutions.
Exactly.
And to be honest, like there's a lot of the so-called solutions that myself personally, not necessarily representing Occupy Colorado Springs or Occupy Wall Street, but representing Joel Aigner, that I'm pretty inclined to agree with on the vast majority of a lot of those principles. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the discussion. I want to thank you for coming out and shaking hands and making some eye contact. And actually, I sent an email to Sean Mitchell a couple days ago and introduced myself.
Oh, he had told me you got an email. And I also want to make something else clear. I will be wearing, my plan is to wear my Stanford Law sweatshirt at this. I am tentatively going to be emceeing it. I might back out for my own reasons. If I do end up emceeing it and I do go to this thing as the MC, when I finish speaking, I will try to make myself available for anyone who has questions for me, either that is at the rally or is outside. If you're outside the permitted area and you want to, counter protest it outside the permitted area, I'll try to make myself available to those people who have questions too. We do ask that anyone who does attend the rally, first of all, bring canned foods. We will accept canned foods for our charity as along with anyone. Along those lines, also something to make clear, because I've seen it on some of the pages. Yes, the charity is a religious organization. I'm one of the main organizers. I'm agnostic. Whether Step 13 was religious did not factor into the decision-making process of choosing Step 13. It was chosen based upon that we felt that, actually Jimmy Sangenberger made the initial determination, and we agreed with it, that it was an organization that taught personal responsibility, which is in line with what we stand for. Whether that's appropriate or not is a separate question. I mean, if you're looking as the public, but it's what our group feels is appropriate, which is why we chose them as an organization. We do feel they do good work with limited resources. So we will be having a canned food drive for this charity. We do hope you guys will attend. Yeah, we'll donate if you attend. And I will try to make myself available for questions for people who are attending in a peaceful manner and not disrupting the rally. And also people who are on the side, outside the permitted area, holding signs up. I will try to answer their questions too when I finish speaking. As MC.
No, Occupy Rally.
What was this about a Stanford
law? I have a Stanford Law sweatshirt that I try to wear when I do political stuff, and it's something which I'm known for because at one point in time, I think I did a pretty famous YouTube video where I stood on the opposite side, I think, of the Wisconsin issue, as many people in Occupy would have stood up on. That's making an assumption. I apologize for that. But because of that, a lot of people in the Liberty Movement know me for my Stanford Law sweatshirt, so that's what I plan on wearing to this rally.
And you're saying this so we can identify you.
Exactly. You can also identify by my name too. My name's Elliot. And once again, since I'm being videotaped, I am here in a personal capacity and in the capacity of an organizer of this rally.
I'm sorry, I'll repeat my question. What is the significance of you wearing a Stanford Law jersey?
The Stanford Law sweatshirt. The significance is it's what I wore in a famous YouTube video that went around the Liberty Movement.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard you. So, what is the significance of you wearing a Stanford Law jersey?
I'm a graduate of Stanford Law School, and as a graduate of Stanford, it was some of the best years of my life. It's one of my favorite sweatshirts. If it's a cold day, I usually wear that sweatshirt. And it's easily identifiable too.
For identification purposes.
Well, now for identification. Before I just wore it on the day where the video that made me famous because it was in the Liberty Movement because it's one of my favorite sweatshirts.
Where can I buy some Dead Sea cosmetics?
Come on, Thomas.
I
Be
don't have to
respectful.
answer that question.
Sorry for my ignorance. What are you guys about?
Yeah, I was going to ask
well,
actually if you could fill us in exactly on what the message of your rally is.
The message of the rally is that I think that there is a general agreement on some of the problems that occupy Wall Street within its subsidiaries. I don't want to say subsidiaries, but solitary chapters such as Colorado Springs, Denver, and other Occupy cities hold with the Liberty Movement in general. When I say the Liberty Movement, I mean the Tea Party, the 912 groups, Liberty on the Rocks.
Tea Party's over here.
Thomas, please be respectful of somebody. He has the floor.
And speaking, and to be clear on this, Pat Buchanan actually, long before I became a libertarian, I was actually in college Republicans. He was invited over my objection to speak at Northwestern. I refused. Over my objection, I refused to shake his hand because I disagree with a lot of what Pat Buchanan stands for.
I agree with most of what he stands for.
Thomas, he has the floor. Please wait your turn as we do it.
Which is fair. People, we can agree to disagree on some of that stuff. I'm not anti-immigrant, and I don't go along with a lot of that stuff that he's in favor of. But being specific, I'm sorry, I lost track of my thought. Where am I at again?
You were
Basically, you're
filling
going to
us
give us a
in on
synopsis
the.
of overview of
The general is, although we've identified, I think, some similar problems. Specifically, I think there's a commonality between the Liberty Movement with all of the other organizations that are involved: Tea Party, 912 groups, Liberty on the Rocks. I'd say CCM, which is Coalition for Conservative Majority, et cetera, leadership program of the Rockies, and also the Occupy Wall Street movements and solitary chapters. There's an agreement on that. Too many businesses make profit not by producing a better product, but rather by lobbying the government. Right. And I think that between the Liberty type groups, the General Liberty Movement, and the Occupy Wall Street movement, there is a similarity of agreement on that. I think where there is divergence in general, and although there is a vast difference, there's a vast spectrum of opinion within Occupy Wall Street itself. I would say as a general matter, there's a disagreement between Occupy Wall Street and the Liberty Movement as to what to do about that. And I think our movement, in this context, where there has been, I think, a tremendous amount of grassroots protesting on the Occupy Wall Street side, that what we in the Liberty Movement want to reiterate is our support for not a more government as a solution, but more liberty as the solution. Now, obviously, there can be substantive disagreement with many of the people here, and I know not necessarily all. I don't want to assume that.
How about this war?
Thomas.
And this will not be an event that deals with foreign policy issues, nor will it be an event as long as I have control over the speaker title that speakers and the emceeing duties that will deal with social issues or will be bashing illegal immigrants. I have used the utmost of my ability in a position of an organizer of this.
Well, I'm a construction worker. I'll bash him.
If you want to, that's fine. You can have your own event. But at the event that I'm organizing, which is this event, I will not, while I'm associated, allow social issues to get involved with it, or will I allow illegal immigrants to be bashed. That is not what our event's about. Our event is supposed to be about having free market solutions for having our country go at least partially back on the economic tracks. Now, you might disagree with those. That's fine. We can have that discussion.
What kind of economic policies are you guys kind of floating with?
I would say as a general matter, and I don't want to get specific. I don't want to steal the thunder of what the rally will be about, or which discussions will need to be happening in the future, or that can be happening. But I'd say generally, the economic system that we support is a more free market capitalist system. The general way I describe it is that anytime there's a proposed government regulation or government solution, you need to start with the presumption that must be disproved on proof beyond a reasonable doubt, or at least clear and convincing evidence, that government solution will create more hidden problems than intended benefits. So the hidden problems of any government regulation or program, there must be the presumption that has to be rebutted on very strong evidence before you actually do it, that it will cause those issues. And that's the position I think a lot of people take. It's the way I term it. But it's my definition. I can't speak for everybody else. Any other questions?
A lot of those videos I sent you last night.
And the Fed, what about that?
There's a lot of people in the liberty movement that support ending the Fed. I think Chris Nixon, who has a foot in both camps, both in the Occupy movement and also the liberty movement, it's a big issue for him. Personally, it's not an issue that I have focused in all that much on. For a disagreement I've had with Chris, namely, I think the problems of our country are not so much Federal Reserve related, although there are Federal Reserve problems that could occur. I think the problems of our country has to do with the anticipated non-discretionary spending growth that will be happening, that will be affecting mainly our generation over the next 20, 30, 40 years.
Our kids' generation.
Inflation is a problem overall, but inflation, you can have an inflationary state, and aside from the issue of seigniorage, which is that the government, taxes you on the increased capital basis of your asset when you sell it, it really doesn't, if everything costs twice as much and you earn twice as much, all that really happens is savers get penalized. It doesn't actually affect the long-term viability of the entitlement programs or the long-term cost of those entitlement programs unless there's an inappropriate inflation measure. And so I think the real problem is not inflation, it's the programs.
Oh, wait,
Hold on, Eric was next. Eric.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Lisa, then Eric. Sorry.
And then pause. Sorry.
Yes.
No disrespect intended, but
No.
have any of your positions toward our Occupy movement changed? Because the last time I heard you speak, you thought we were entirely backwards, that we were going to make things worse the way we were going.
I do believe that. I believe that overall. I believe overall that the solutions that come from not all Occupy Wall Street, but much of Occupy Wall Street, they identify some of the problems correctly, but the solutions that are advocated are solutions that would take our country in the wrong direction. We can have. I'm not calling you unpatriotic. I think the viewpoint is we disagree about the effect of the solutions that are proposed, and on the problems we agree with. Some problems that are proposed as existing, we don't actually see as problems. We're going to have disagreement there, and we're going to have to agree to disagree to some point, and we could try to convince each other. I do not believe that some of the stuff I've seen from Occupy Wall Street is necessarily in the right direction.
What about the Unpatriotic Act?
You said we're going to
What
make
about
on a personal level, I'm skeptical of the Patriot Act, but it's not something our event's going to be concerned with.
Well, let's reveal it. Simply sort of you want liberty.
So let's say, I guess, and I don't mean to ask you to steal the thunder,
Yes.
but so on issues of like ending the Fed or foreign policy or jobs or social issues, those are all beside the point.
Not jobs.
I
know this is a key point. We'll get to that.
Well, social issues would seem something. Employment would be that. So
Social issues, not in the liberty movement context, is not viewed as a social issue.
Okay,
Hold on a second. I wasn't actually done with my question. I'll tell you when the question marks are, okay? So is this actually going to be basically a rally about the reflections of your opinions, your personal opinions?
It'll be a rally that I think are a reflection of the viewpoint, a very limited segment of the viewpoint of the liberty movement, not segment in terms of people, but there's many views within any movement. I mean, the lists of demands within Occupy Wall Street, from the New York General Assembly, or that were the supposedly unauthorized list that was read onto a grassroots radio back in September, to the cheers of Occupy Colorado Springs. I mean, they encompass a wide variety of subjects. And just as the Occupy Wall Street may have a wide variety of subjects, so does the liberty movement. That said, this will only encompass a certain small subset of those subjects.
So I hear everything you're saying. That there are a lot of overlapping issues that we can all agree with, that we have problems with.
Some.
But yeah, right, and that you're saying that you don't agree with some of the solutions that you brought up.
Yes.
On that note, I'd like, on behalf of OCS and Occupy, I'd like to invite you, and I'd like you to extend this invitation to your fellow members to come join the Occupy by putting aside your partisan politics and just coming to the floor with the issues that you do have and help us come up with viable solutions to the problems that we do agree on.
What do you hope to do with peaceful protest anyway?
In terms of partisanship, I'm not actually. This is something within the liberty movement that gives some people great heartache, and I don't want to name names out of respect. I'm actually not a Republican. I'm a registered libertarian, and I'm happy to vote third party if I feel that there's a candidate who does not. And I did vote third party in the last presidential
The
election.
Likud doesn't have any stand.
Thomas, it's not your turn.
Well, I mean, whether it's standing or not, I vote my conscience. I'm happy to vote my conscience. I'll also vote pragmatically too. It depends. But I'm currently registered not as a Republican. The issue that I have, and I do appreciate the invitation, I think generally speaking, though, because there is so much in terms of not necessarily official demands, but I think unofficial demands and stuff that has come out of Occupy Wall Street, I do think there is fundamental disconnect on first order principles that I would not be involved with Occupy Wall Street, but I do think we should have dialogue. And I do think that's an important thing, but I think that in terms of solutions, which is at this point so divergent overall in terms of some problems that we identify. We agree on some problems. Other problems we're going to disagree on that are problems at all. And then on top of which, of those problems we agree on are problems, I think we have divergent solutions. And that is at such a degree that I would not be able to join. But there's many groups that I attend their stuff, such as Conservative for Coalition for Conservative Majority. I'm not a member there, but I do attend and I do talk.
And just on that note, again, just realize making the difference between a party and a movement.
Yes,
and you're invited to come down and hang out and talk.
And I appreciate I appreciate that, but I wanted to make sure that we're really clear on this point because I had seen a lot of stuff. We are not our rally, or at least
you believe in importing labor. What about exporting jobs?
Thomas,
what
will you
about
allow
the
him to
Walmart
come up
question?
here and
No,
talk?
these
I'm
are
happy to address this. I think this is one of the areas of
If
disagreement.
I can shout at Hickenlooper, I can shout at this guy. All right. What about exporting jobs? It's all right to import labor.
I don't. Let me give you my name. My name is Elliot. I'll shoot you a thing on Facebook. To be bluntly,
Thomas has got a point.
No, to be bluntly honest,
Does our economy really benefit from exporting our jobs?
Hell no.
We disagree on this. Yes, I believe it. I believe if you take a look at modern economic theory, and we can disagree on this, that by I'm forgetting the term of art in economics.
Logic.
No, not logic. Specialization of labor. It's comparative advantage. Based on comparative advantage principles, which I mean, everyone that has looked at this must agree that having free trade increases net wealth overall. That doesn't mean that everyone's going to be a winner. It means that there's going to be losers. Now we can have that discussion, but I'm not going to agree with you on that.
I agree with free trade, but
Okay, guys, we're not going to debate the topics. We understand.
No.
We understand
Because
there's
I'm not allowed to
differences.
speak
What
here.
we're talking
Yeah,
about
it's okay to
is
shut down.
Sir, I'm happy to
We're
talk.
not having a debate right now.
Thomas, in the spirit of
He is debating.
communication,
He's talking.
in the spirit of, I'm happy to talk with you
Presentation.
afterwards briefly.
Yeah, please. So let's move on to the next topic on the agenda, guys.
We've got a lot
I
of
want to
stuff
say
to
thank
cover
you once
tonight.
again. Thank you very much once again for your time. And to repeat once again, we are not. This is not a counter rally. It's not a counter protest. It is our own rally. And if you guys are respectful, you want to show up. We don't have magical magnify X-ray glasses that can discern who's an occupier and who's just coming to our rally. But if you do, if there are people, it's you or anyone in the general public that do try to interfere with our rally, we do have a right under our permit to control our messaging, and that is a right that we will consider.
Until you're told to leave.
Elliot, real quick.
Control
Thank you so much.
all of this.
Thank you.
Silence Buchanan.